Okay, we're going to go ahead and show you how to connect QuickBooks and Timely. All right, when you're in Timely, you will need to be an admin in order to make this connection with your QuickBooks account. So make sure that you are an admin in Timely before trying to make this connection. Also, another thing I'd like to mention is that you can only connect to one QuickBooks online account. You cannot connect to multiple, so that's also something to keep in mind. When you're in Timely, head on over to the Invoices tab on the left, and right in the middle of the screen, you'll see a button that says Connect to QuickBooks. Click it, and there will be a little pop-up where you'll be able to go ahead and enter your QuickBooks details, your user ID, as well as your password. Once you get those details and enter your password, click Login, and you'll be brought right back into Timely with the integration connected. Now, I like to double check these type of things, so we're going to click this little plug button here to the integrations page where I can see all of my managed integrations, and I can clearly see that I've connected to QuickBooks Online and the date that I connected it. Just that easy. Now that you've gone ahead and created your connection with QuickBooks Online and Timely, you're probably going to want to start creating some invoices. So Chris, go ahead and take it away.
All right, thank you, Liz. Yeah, easy enough to connect. Now let's go ahead and create some invoices and get paid. So if you're in the Invoices tab in Timely, your attention is likely going to be drawn to this green button in the top right corner that says plus, Create New Invoice. Go ahead and click there to get started. By default, all new invoices are set to include all of your unbilled hours on your workspace, but this can be narrowed down by project. You can also narrow down the time frame. One thing to keep in mind is that you can't invoice hours going into the future. Otherwise, you're going to see an error message from Timely, but the current date and before are all fair game. You can also organize your invoices line items by the people that have logged the time, the tags that you've used on any of these logged entries, or the teams that have logged the time. From there, you can click Show Details to get an overview of the projects that are being invoiced, the number of entries, and the total sum of money. If that all looks good, click Create, and that invoice will be created in the background. Now, one thing to keep in mind, we've already synced this client with QuickBooks before, but if you have a brand new invoice for a client that hasn't been invoiced in QuickBooks before, or if you're just using this integration for the first time, you'll see a button here in this column saying send this invoice to QuickBooks. That connection will also happen in the background. And then after that, any invoice you create for that client going forward will be automatically synced with QuickBooks. Now, once an invoice has been sent to QuickBooks, all of those entries in Timely are marked as invoiced and become read-only. So that means you won't be able to make any edits on those entries at that point. That said, if you do need to make some changes, you can either void the invoice in Timely or void the invoice in QuickBooks to unlock those hours, make adjustments, and then set up the invoice all over again. But now that we've got our invoices created here in Timely, I'm going to pass it back to Liz, who's going to give you some info on how to manage these invoices in QuickBooks.
So we're going to head over to our QuickBooks account. Once you've gone ahead and logged into your QuickBooks account, where you're going to want to go is to the Sales tab. This is where you're going to see all of the invoices and clients from Timely. I'm going to go ahead and select Date over here to make sure that all of my most recent invoices are up at the top, and I'm able to view that draft that Chris just sent over. And I can go ahead and send it off. So I'll go ahead and send this draft to my colleague, to my client. Go ahead and hit send. Great. So now that invoice is sent, and then once I receive payment for that invoice, I can go ahead and mark that I've received payment in QuickBooks. Quickly go ahead and say that I've received, we'll go ahead and say cash, close that out. And I don't have to go to Timely to say that this payment has been received. Once I've gone ahead and marked payment as received in QuickBooks, it is mirrored in Timely, so you won't need to update anything. Timely will automatically mark all of the hours that belongs to this invoice as paid once the invoice has been paid in QuickBooks.